Well, hi there. I'm Sandy Allnock, and I have a little extra treat for you today. This is not my normal day for my monthly coloring feature, but I'm going to be coloring anyway with Zig Clean Color markers and these new to me Colorado craft company stamps. And they inspired a different kind of an idea for coloring with me. I have three of these sets that they sent me. I'm very excited. One is this dad set. It has just the legs, so it can look like everybody's dad doing golfing. The shopping one, you can have anybody shopping because you're not doing the top piece as well as the little Bible one in the center. The video is going to focus on the dad card today, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the others later. I'm going to be using this Bristol paper because I want to use my clean color markers and I wanted something a little bit smoother. Most people find that watercolor paper can seem a little bit lumpy for those markers. So what I thought I wanted to do was to make something a little bit sketchy. And there are a lot of different types of things that inspire this, but the style of drawing on these with the kind of soft, sketchy lines in the stamps were what got me thinking this way. This particular set has the box with the Dad, You Are TeeRific in it, and I stamped it so that the dad body kind of disappears behind that. And then I thought, well, what if I added some different shapes in here so I have something to color into? Because otherwise you're coloring all the way out to the edge of the piece of paper. And I thought it would be kind of fun to give myself a little bit of structure for the picture so that I'd have a place to stop at. Sometimes just figuring out where to stop is a big part of the whole process of creating a little piece of art like this. And then I had a few extra spots that had places to put decor, little decorations of some kind. And you could do that in a bunch of different areas on a card like this. And I'm just going to add three. You can do as much doodling as you want. And I've done it on a piece of tracing paper just to work out where I'm going to have all the different parts of the drawing. And then I used just a little rolling ruler. You can get that at the local store where you get your kids' school supplies and things. I find a rolling ruler is just a little easier. I don't have to measure things. I just roll the ruler down from the edge of the paper and can make it nice and straight. The sketchy style of this also allows me to not have to worry about making all of my lines end at the same place. I can make some of them stick out and hang off the edge. It's a looser style than trying to be all perfectionist about it. And that's one of the things I like about the whole idea behind what I decided to do with these stamps. Now you can color them 1,000 different ways. This is just one different technique I thought might be helpful for some people who like to do a little bit of doodling. So I've gone over my pencil lines with a marker, it's just a Sharpie, but you want something that's going to be waterproof. So make sure you use something like that if you're going to use your clean colors. If you do this with your Copic markers, you're going to want to use a Copic friendly type of marker to draw with. And then I got out my Zigs. I got out a white pen, of course, because pretty much everything I do has a white pen in it, and a brush. And I'm going to grab a couple of colors. And what I did was pick out a selection of colors. So I had some dark mediums and lights in a couple of colors, and some of them just have a medium and a light color. And this allows me here, since I have a box, to put a sky in that has a stopping place, just a little stopping point of some kind. And I can mix the medium color with the lighter color and blend them together a little bit with the marker itself. And that's one of the fun things about the Zigs is that that color will move. But I can also use a brush. And I'm not using heavy water on this. This Bristol paper is pretty much not going to buckle on you a lot, but you don't want to soak it because it's not watercolor paper. It even says on the front of it it's for dry media. And that would not include things that have water in them, of course. But it does work gently with that, as long as you don't slob on too much water. So I'm going to use a couple different greens down here in the grass while I'm waiting for that sky to dry up at the top, because I want to add some of those trees that I had sketched in my pencil sketch. But I decided I didn't want to use outlines for them, so I'm just going to let that area up there dry and work on this, blending the grasses in the bottom. I also added a golf ball there. There's no golf ball in the stamp, but I tried to figure out where that guy was going to be aiming his golf ball. And given that there's little lines in the stamp itself pointing out the direction where that ball has just been hit, it's on its way over to the pin. And I used to play golf when I was much, 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 much younger. I did try again in my middle-aged years and realized I wasn't any better at it then than I was when I was a teenager. So yeah, golf has not been my thing, but my parents were both big golfers when I was young, and so have a definite love of the game because of that. My mom still watches golf like crazy on television. She just loves sitting there watching them. I don't find it anymore entertaining to sit and watch somebody else take forever to hit a golf ball down the course. But I know some people just absolutely love that. So there you go. Different strokes for all different folks. But for anybody with a dad who likes to golf, this would be excellent for a Father's Day card. And there are some Father's Day sentiments in here. You can also go for birthday cards, all different kinds of things, because dads and golf things just go together. Now for the trees that I'm doing here in the background, I made some lumpy little lighter colored shapes in the foreground and then started adding some pine trees. And pine trees are really just a tall squiggle with squiggly edges on either side of them. So they're like a triangle with rough edges, and just blob them all together. I like to make trees that are not even, because if you ever look out at a forest, you're rarely going to see all the trees at the same height. So make them all different. And what I'm doing here is making sure that I have some color all the way around the golfer, because that's going to create some contrast between the golfer and the background. And if I decided I wanted to have that golf glove be white, then it needs to have some color around it in order for it to look white. So now I'm going to add the trees on the other side of the dad and just add a little bit of detail over there. And not a ton too, because this is far in the distance. And if you're looking at trees in the distance, you're not going to see something that's going to be really super detailed. It's going to be fuzzy in the background. And that's really what I wanted, because I want the focus to be on the foreground and the golfer itself, rather than getting lost in the trees. So now I'm going to drop in some water and then just let the water do what it wants to. I'm going to get a little bit of little blossoms and things in there, those little blooms. But that's okay for trees, because trees just look that way. For the rest of the coloring, once you've got a scene in there, it's really fine if you don't do a lot of detail in the rest of the picture, because whoever's going to receive this is going to get lost in everything else that's in the scene, all that beautiful green color in the trees and everything, and the doodles that are drawn around the rest of the card. However, I'm going to add some shading by putting some dark blues and then light blues, and then use some water to blend the colors in the pants. And I'm going to tell you a funny story. My dad would actually laugh at this. He's no longer with us, but a few years before he passed away, he called me one day and he asked me if it was okay for men to wear pink. And I thought that was a very weird question for my dad to ask. He had some pink shirts, so I wasn't really sure what was up with that, but he was asking about pink. And I said, well, sure, Dad, men can wear pink and it's perfectly fine. You've got pink shirts. And he said, well, I kind of have a lot of pink shirts, and I even have some pink pants. And I said, what do you mean? You bought pink pants, Dad? And no, that was not really the issue. He had a laundry accident, and he was just getting used to the idea of doing his own laundry, and he put some red in with all of his whites, and he ended up with all these pink clothes. And apparently he was getting teased at the club for wearing quite that much pink. So I decided not to make the pants pink. I made them light blue instead. As much as I know my dad would be proud to have a golfer card done by me on YouTube, he would have been mortified had I made them pink. So there you go. These are the colors that I used out of the Zig collection. And the still picture of this will be over on the Ellen Hutson blog, so you can pick that up if you want to see what colors I used. The finished card I just layered onto some cardstock and put that on the card base with some dimensional adhesive. And on my site, there is another card similar to this one with the shopper gal. So you can go check out that one if you want to watch another video using the same set of Zig colors. And I will see you guys again soon for a Color All the Things episode in later on this month. And I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.